And now it's time for Movies of the Week.
Hey, Mom! I need some popcorn!
The movie of the week this week is Eraserhead. This is David Lynch's 1977 film about a man who has an unplanned child with his girlfriend. And that child just so happens to be deformed, and it is one of the most horrifying children ever recorded on film, in my opinion. Now, apparently, a little bit of a backstory, David Lynch had just had a child who was born with severely clubbed feet. So this film could very easily be broken down or just boiled down into a film about the anxiety of having a child who has a deformity. I got a little bit more out of that from the film. A little bit more than that out of the film. The film is very open to interpretation. That's kind of what David Lynch is known for, being a little bit abstract, including some weirdness. And I got something different out of it. I got the just general sense of anxiety. The film is anxiety-inducing as a whole. The film is shot absolutely beautifully, though. The set design is bizarre and depressing and dark and cold and desolate, but the cinematography and lighting is gorgeous. The blacks and the whites and everything just seems to work so well together, and the Criterion Collection DVD that I have actually has a section or a selection to calibrate your TV, so you're able to watch the film and see the film as David Lynch intended, which was really cool. The blacks were so black and the brights were so white. It was incredible visually. But the thing that stuck out to me the most was the sound design. The sound is so dominant in every single scene. It is up front. I would argue that it's almost more important than the visuals. That is how forward all of the sound is. And apparently, they spent 1 year on the sound design, and my God, does it show. The thing that I would compare the sound to is somebody who is hypersensitive to sound, or maybe somebody with an extreme case of misophonia. I think that's what it is, where certain sounds make you very uncomfortable, where you might end up focusing on that sound. That's what the sound design of this reminded me of. But the prominence of the sound is so unnatural that it creates this unsettling feeling throughout the entire thing, where you hear the radiator just blaring, and it creates this. It's not something that you experience in the real world, and that sets you on edge a little bit. Now, I suppose the way I could describe this film is kind of like watching somebody's fever dream. It is just unsettling. There's a sense of looming dread, and it borders on being otherworldly. The way that Henry views the world and the way that the set design is, where plants don't have pots. There's just piles of dirt on your bedside stand with a dead plant sticking out of it. You got pet worms. It is very otherworldly. And this is legitimately one of the most unique and most enjoyable films I've seen in quite some time. I wanted to rewatch it immediately to get more out of it, because this is a film that will hold up to repeat viewing. There's so many layers. There's so much left up for interpretation that you could probably watch this a dozen times, every single time picking up a new theme, a new little thing hidden in the background. And the last film that did that for me made me want to rewatch it immediately, made me think about it, made me assume that I could rewatch it a dozen times and find new things, was Videodrome. That's another somewhat abstract film, but both have somewhat strong messages and also kind of open for interpretation. So 100% I would recommend Eraserhead. If you're looking for a somewhat disturbing, unsettling, very well crafted and very deliberate film, David Lynch, I understand why people love David Lynch now. This is the first time I have seen one of his films, and I get it. I get it 100%.